I would like to welcome you to the Laramy-K Optician Works Training Center, where if you're watching us on YouTube, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down there in the corner. If you're watching us on Facebook, please give us a like and make sure that every lens in your optical world comes from Laramy-K. Today, we are going to talk about the notes that doctors sometimes write at the bottom of a prescription. Two things that I haven't said in a really long time. One is we have a little housekeeping to do before we get started, and two, the P word. Yes, I used the prescription word, and few things make me more unhappy. Obviously, here at Optician Works, we use the term lens order. Eyeglass lenses are two pieces of curved plastic held in front of your eyes by a couple of bent wires. But for this particular video, notes written on prescriptions, well, we're just going to have to work with that, aren't we? The big takeaway from all of this that we're going to go over is that when you are handed a lens order, you can change absolutely anything that you want, except for the sphere, the cylinder, and the axis. And the sphere, you can even play with that when combining it with a portion or all of the ad to make different distances for other ranges. Now, when are you going to see this? If you've been in business for a while, you obviously have a good, steady stream of prescriptions coming in. You're in business, so you're familiar with the doc or doctors that you work with. You know the text, you can call over there, check on something that's not quite right. This stuff is going to occur outside your comfort zone. This is going to be when you see scripts from somewhere other than where you're used to. We're going to think first, and we're going to act second. This is a time to shine. This is a time to win hearts, plural, and minds, plural. If this is new, this is something you're seeing for the first time, this is probably a potential new customer that you're dealing with. Make that one customer happy, they tell 10 others, they tell 100. I can almost guarantee you, if you look out the door of your store right now, there's probably growth happening around you. It's everywhere. You've got the mixed use 500 units, you've got new housing developments, subdivisions. The world is growing. You are gonna see new stuff coming in. And what a perfect time to grab 100 or 1,000 new customers. So what do I mean by think first and act second? You want to make this process as easy and comfortable for that new customer as you possibly can. You need to think like a Laramy-K Optician Works optician. How can I make this look as good as possible? How do we do that? Well, we're going to learn the notes that you may see so you understand them, so you don't have to question it. You are not going to make a call. If you cannot figure it out, if you can't stop and think it through on your own, and you have to call the place that they used to go to, you're not going to do that while they wait. You're going to make that call after they leave. Sell them a new pair of glasses, take the money, thank them, give them a hug, send them on their way. Then you go back and troubleshoot, sort it out. You do not want to be having that call while they're there. You don't want to immediately take a brand new script, hundreds of potential dollars in your hand, and then start going, oh, well, I don't understand what this means. I'm going to have to call them. And where did you used to go? And no, don't do that. Make it easy. When you have to, if you have to make that call, be ready for it. You're going to get the person on the other end that's going to give you a hard time, because that seems to be the way things go these days. Be ready who you are, what you need, when you need it, where you need it, how, and why. And the why is critical. Explain to them in detail what you're doing. You are not a threat to them. They are not going to get this sale anymore. That person doesn't live in Michigan anymore. They live in Virginia. Big difference. You're not hurting their business, right? And if they say, that's expired, I can't send it to you, just say, so what? You can write expired across it for all I care. I need a reference. All right, just be prepared for that kind of stuff. And don't have that conversation in front of that potential new customer who's going to tell 10 people, who's going to give you 100 new potential customers. Let's go over the notes that you may find that a doctor has written at the bottom of a lens order. All right, I have got quite a stack of these to go through, so let's get started. One last piece of housekeeping. I am strictly talking about eyeglass lens orders, not contact lenses. Two different things. Use specific brand lens. No. Once you pay for your prescription, you are free to take that absolutely anywhere you want in order to have your glasses made, and they may use whatever brand lens that they choose. No, ignore it. This is a good one of the good ones. Unlike signs correct. Look at your right, it's a minus. Look at your left, it's a plus. No sense in having to call anybody and double check and say, oh, did you mean that? Unlike signs correct. Excellent. Yep, you're good to go. Balance. This tells you that this person in their left eye is either severely compromised or blind. It means that in the left eye, you will use a spherical equivalent, and how you get that is covered on the Optician Works website. And I am not going to tell you that you need to use poly or Trivex. And the answer to why is in another video. This is one that you see popping up from time to time now, and this is writing the prescription in 1/8 diopter steps instead of 1/4 diopter steps. Rather than actually work to win your business and confidence, they instead write in 1/8 diopter steps with the hope that you can't fill it online. Kind of a lame excuse. If I got that, by the way, let's see, what do? I would not call, I wouldn't check, I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. I would put that person in a -125 sphere in the right and a -225, -175 in the left. And can lens powers be written in 1/8 diopter steps? Heck, sure, they could be written in 1/100th diopter steps. But believe me, there will be other notes on that lens order, and the customer will have a reason why it was done that way. Very closely connected, you're an ad of +110. I literally just saw this a week or so ago. It was connected to a brand name lens. Total nonsense. No. Again, if I got this, I would not call. I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. I would choose the appropriate lens, and I would give them either a 1 or a 125 ad, depending on their age. This one comes from somewhere back in 1999, and as good Laramy-K Works opticians, you know that the last thing you want to do is increase the power in a progressive. So if you ever see that, for goodness sake, ignore it and go with the straight add power. This one says that it expires 10/12/2023 when it was written in 10/12/2022. There are a few states that allow that. Other than that, I will let your conscience be your guide. I think you know where I stand on that. 2 pieces of curved plastic never expire. Here's one of the good ones. IOL stands for intraocular lens, IOP intraocular lens patient, or post-cataract. Cataract surgery now is super, super easy. It works out for the best almost always. 3 weeks later, they come in for their first pair of glasses after cataract surgery. Usually the sphere cylinders are really quite low. Ads usually kind of high, depends on which lens they use. But kind of a good thing to know. There may be a huge difference between what they were. They may go from a -5 or 7 down to a 1 or a -50 or something. So good note to have. NVO, near vision only, DVO, distance vision only, comp, computer, intermediate. This is a great note. This tells you that you're going to have a nice conversation with your customer, and you're going to decide which of those they want, what distance they're looking for, and you're going to combine that ad power in some way with that sphere power to get them what they need. It's a nice note. This is for over contacts. This means obviously a person wears contacts all the time, maybe needs a reader now or an intermediate pair. So that's a good note to have, nice thing to know. Match prism, or in other words, I have no idea what I'm doing and I hope that you do. I do take you through the steps on how to get close to matching prism using the lens meter on the Optician Works website. If not, you really need to talk to your customer, see if you can't backtrack and find a written prescription with a doc's notes on what prism should be there, or they're going to have to find a practitioner that knows what they're doing. Recommend AR. Well, sure, what a nice note. A lot of people feel that the doctor's suggestions carry a lot of weight. If they recommend AR, that's fantastic. Obviously, you're not looking to recommend a specific brand AR, but AR is a good thing. Good one. This is where's seg, high or low. It means you're going to be fitting a lined bifocal or a lined trifocal. And yeah, you're going to have a nice long conversation with the customer. You're going to put that black line where you think they're going to like to wear it. You're going to look at where they're wearing their pair that they have now and just make sure that everything lines up the way they want before hitting send on that order. Use same segment. Well, I mean, yes and no. Probably not a bad idea. But certainly if they had a reason to go from a 28 to a 45, well, use a 45. If they absolutely positively wanted to try a progressive at last, well, I guess you would try a progressive. That's up to them. You know, again, it's kind of, you know, you're going to have to play that one by ear a little bit. No poly. Some people, especially years ago, used to feel very strongly that poly had such horrible optical qualities that no one should wear it. What a load of poop. If you got somebody that wears contact lenses all the time, they want a spare pair for their suitcase, then by all means, that's what you stock. They want a pair while they're waiting, make them in poly. Vertex whatever, it might be 13, 14, 12. Absolutely no meaning whatsoever, especially for those numbers. If you were up above plus or minus 8, it begins to matter. If you saw it there, then I'd start thinking about it, considering it. I would not worry about it. Certainly in powers like that, not going to make any difference whatsoever. And last but not least, OK for contacts. No note has given opticians more trouble over the years. OK for contacts written on an eyeglass prescription is a way of a doctor telling you that during a medical eye exam, they found nothing to contraindicate use of contact lenses. Tells a practitioner, like contact lens specialist, that they're free to do a fit. All right, hope that helps. Notes found on eyeglass lens orders. I'll see you again next week.